Everybody, so I was at this jam session the other day, yesterday, and I have no idea what I'm doing as usual. So the bassist starts playing, and the drummer starts playing, and there's a pianist and a saxophonist, and they start trying to experiment, just starting subtly, and they hit on something, and then I have to start playing as well, try to weave myself in there, and of course you don't want to be too aggressive or too dominant, too forceful. So just start with the bass notes, trying to figure out what those are, what they're playing. At that point, nobody was playing chords yet, I don't think. So I don't remember exactly what was played, unfortunately. But so I'm just curious how everybody else does this. So I figured that after a jam, we could make a little video to explain what you were hearing, what you were experiencing, what you were thinking, what you were doing, what went right, you know, what other people might enjoy as well. So I was trying to weave myself in. So the first thing I did was try to figure out, because I can change my tone here from more trebly to more bassy, like where in the mix is there still space for me to fit in, and I'll try to pick that. And so it was a bit funky, so I like to use a bit more trebly sound when it's funky, and so I settled on this one. I was using somebody else's amplifier and effects pedal, so I had no idea what the fuck was going on, what the flowers was going on. You know, it's a video. I shouldn't cuss, but anyway. So I was listening. I started with the bass notes, and the first one I heard was this. So this is C. I think we're playing C minor. Sometimes they tell you in advance, sometimes they don't. They just start playing, and the problem is that it's often very hard to hear yourself in a jam. So the easiest thing is to just start with bass notes. So and then add a rhythm. I'll try to sit so you kind of see my guitar just that's more or less the same way I see it, which means I'm going to be a bit out of view, but I think that's okay. So immediately I figured out, like, unfortunately I don't remember exactly what they were playing, so I'm just going to do something, but try to tell the story as best as I can. So so you settle into that, and then well, you don't want to be too dominant, you don't want to be too present, so the can be a bit much. So can also you can choose to do the tap on the strings or on the guitar. I like to keep my rhythm in my hand, so I do want to keep it moving. But if that means that you're just going to be doing that can be distracting. So you might want to tap somewhere else. But in any case, I just have two notes and a little rhythm at this point. So I quickly find that it gets a little boring if you just repeat it. So what I like to do is add a one note below. I do that a lot. I have a scale, and then I just figure out, hey, here I know I can just lower it one note, and it sounds interesting. And when you add a one note lower, you can use it as a little step up to your rhythm, and then you can add a sort of a beginning and an end to your pattern, or add a little variation to it, so it's not always just completely the same. So. Notice it's not just melodically different, it's a little bit rhythmically different as well. So you stay in the same meter, it's just a slightly different rhythm. And I like doing that. A lot of guitarists seem to like repeat the exact same rhythm and only very melodically. I like to do it both because it sounds nice, it sounds interesting. But you try not to do it too much, because then other people get confused or distracted, or it doesn't fit into the pattern. So you have to be careful with that. You don't have to stay within the rule of the law, but you do have to stay within the spirit of the law or the song. You know, that's the idea with a jam, I think. So anyway, you kind of start relaxing into it, and as you settle into a pattern, you start exploring more. You have some stability. You can always fall back on that, and you start listening more. Like, what else is there? Where can I go? And pretty soon I hear it's like, oh wait, that note fits in as well. At this point I figure out, oh wait, I think I actually figured this out earlier, but okay, for the story. It's a minor chord, so, and we're playing a funky song, so you can do the, notice I'm playing with my hand without a pick. I like to do that when I'm playing rhythm guitar, when I'm playing more funky stuff. Because I can choose how many strings I want to hit, and I can hit them with a different kind of energy on each string. I can use the nail for a hard touch, or the finger, the flesh, to get more of a soft touch. So I feel it gives me more variation, more subtlety. For solos, I would definitely use a pick, because it's hard to pick the individual strings properly and get them to sound out right with just your fingers. But well, the really good guys, they can actually hold a pick while they're using their free hand, their open hand, and then switch to the pick when necessary. I can't do that. I can do one or both. So if I want to switch to a solo, I have to know like a few seconds in advance, so I just grab a pick somewhere, and switch. But anyway, so we start relaxing into it, start finding some chords, and start messing around with that chord, like. Notice you can strum only the last few strings. Tends to work well with a funky song, especially if you want to support the other people. You don't want to be too dominant. And notice I'm doing that. That's just a tick of mine. I should also learn not to do that, but anyway, it can be difficult. So you can do it more subtly. And when I noticed that these notes were both in there, and there's two notes in between, this tells me, if I see this on the first string, like this note, and then skip two notes, and then that note, I already know, okay, I can fit a blues scale in here. I think that's a very standard blues scale. I think that's the one everybody learns. I'm not sure. So technically speaking, you can't know just by those two chords whether the blues scale will fit in, I think, but it's a pretty good indication. So that's a little mental shortcut. So at this point, I started relaxing into it and started to put it all together. So if you got a few notes on the first string, like I've got those notes. There's a little shortcut on a guitar you can use. That's when you found one on the first 4 strings at least. When you found a note somewhere, you know that 2 strings over and 2 frets over. So there's the what do you call it? It's the next octave basically. It's the same note. So 2 strings over, 2 frets up, same note. Same thing goes for the second and the 4th string. So if you found a note here, then you know, same note's over here. If you found a note here, you know the same note's over there. So if you found a little riff that you can play on one of those strings, you can double it up and make it sound more full. So for instance, of course, it sounded much better that night. It was amazing. But this is just a tribute. Any case, I hope you enjoyed that. That's where my head is when I'm in a jam, and I'm stressed out and trying to figure out what's going on in real time. There's all these little tips and tricks. So another easy one, of course, or the 2 easiest tricks on the guitar are, if you're playing something on the first string, well, the last string, if you're in standard tuning, is also the same string, is also an E. So if you got a note here, same note's over there. The thing I just explained with the octaves, if you got a note here, same note is over here. So that makes it really easy. And of course, the whole thing repeats after the 12th fret. So if you're playing the first note, you know the 13th note is going to be the same one as well. So all those little kind of tips and tricks, those little mental shortcuts, allow you to navigate the neck real quick. Same thing with the scale that I recognized. Like, oh wait, if there's 2 notes in between, I know that's part of the blues scale. I can play a blues scale over here. Actually, that blues scale is easier to recognize because it's even easier to recognize by the characteristic 3 notes together that it has. That's and whenever you find those 3 notes together, you know that's the blues scale over there. And similarly, you can if you want to learn that blues scale all over the neck, you can just remember those 3 notes and then remember where's the next position with the 3 notes. And if you remember where they are in relation to each other, you can start from there and remember all the other notes in the scale based on those places. So that's an easy little trick. And that the same way you can remember the intervals between notes and all kinds of tiny little riffs that are just central to certain scales or chords, and you know, like, oh wait, I found those 2 notes. Well, that's part of that family basically, and then you can start working outwards from there. So it makes it really easy to figure things out on the fly. Any case, there are people who are way better than this. I have almost no theoretical knowledge. I'm not educated to do this, so I'd be really interested to know how other people do this, especially people who actually know what they're doing, supposedly. And I hope you enjoyed this. So have a good one. See you at the next jam.